This is WFYI News Now. It's March 6th, and I'm Drew Daudelin, filling in for Abriana Herron. On today's show, Governor Mike Braun signs an executive order to ban transgender women and girls from playing sports, how lawmakers could advance bills on halting DEI programs, and some experts say efforts to make life-saving medications available led to a noticeable drop in drug overdose deaths.
It's not a magic solution to everything, but these data are fatal overdoses, which is the specific thing that naloxone is intended to address.
Those stories coming up, but first, the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana will lose nearly $50,000 in government funding after the Trump administration decided to abruptly end one of their grants. WFYI's Elizabeth Gabriel reports staff are worried about their ability to protect housing discrimination victims in the future.
The Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana was awarded over $138,000. The grant began in July 2024 and was supposed to end this June. But the Trump administration has decided to stop funding and hasn't announced which grants will be available this year. Amy Nelson is the executive director of FHCCI. She's worried 85% of the organization's budget, funded with federal money, could vanish.
We have tried to find private foundation support. City budgets are also being cut. I don't know how we could continue to stay open, unfortunately.
Nelson says they could lose more than $800,000 if future grants are halted. I'm Elizabeth Gabriel.
Governor Mike Braun signed an executive order on Tuesday to align with federal moves to ban transgender women and girls from playing sports. Braun says the executive order is meant to support a measure moving through the legislature to ban transgender women from playing in collegiate athletics.
Whatever's crafted in legislation, whether it adds to it, takes away from it, I'm guessing the intended purpose is going to be the same.
Braun also signed a second order for executive branch agencies to, quote, enforce the biological binary, end quote, of gender. It creates definitions and bans gender-neutral language to acknowledge transgender and non-binary Hoosiers.
What derives from it or what else might be impacted by it, that remains to be seen.
Braun says the order is a declaration of the state's position and makes no changes. Indiana lawmakers have begun the final sprint of the 2025 legislative session. From WFYI's Education Desk, Rachel Fredette reports on how lawmakers could advance bills on halting DEI programs, support for students who struggle learning math, and new funding for charter schools.
More than 30 education-related bills that could reshape the state's K-12 education system remain under consideration. Senate Bill 518 is among the most controversial because it would change how charter schools are funded in the state. The bill would require traditional public schools to share property tax money with charters beginning in 2028. Senate Bill 289 follows federal and governor-led moves to disband DEI initiatives across the state. That bill also puts restrictions on how topics like systemic racism could be discussed in the classroom. House Bill 1634 would deliver swift interventions to K-8 students who are struggling with foundational math skills. It's the only bill out of all three with bipartisan support. Lawmakers must finish by the end of April. Passed bills then go to Governor Mike Braun for a signature. I'm Rachel Fredette.
All other bills that failed to advance out of committee or pass their respective chambers last month are considered dead. And for our final story today, new data shows drug overdose deaths fell about 4% across much of the country, including in many parts of the Midwest. Side Effects Public Media's Ben Thorpe reports, some experts believe the drop reflects efforts to make life-saving medications, like naloxone, widely available.
In 2023, Indiana saw a nearly 17% dip in overdose deaths, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. John Egley is the Deputy Director of Research at Prevention Insights, part of the School of Public Health at Indiana University. He says the decline could be related to naloxone, a drug that can reverse the effects of an overdose, being more accessible.
It's not a magic solution to everything, but these data are fatal overdoses, which is the specific thing that naloxone is intended to address.
Egley says it's good to see numbers falling, but prevention efforts need to continue. Indiana still saw roughly 2,000 fatal drug overdoses in 2023. I'm Ben Thorpe, Side Effects Public Media.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Zach Bundy, Abriana Herron, and myself, Drew Daudelin, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.